Hey everyone, Draco Wolfthorn here, bringing you my top 10 favorite Pokemon. These are just normal Pokemon. They're not any specific except for there's no legendaries and there is no even the counted event Pokemon, and there is no Megas in here either. Some of these Pokemon do have Megas, but there are no Megas in here. Coming up with number 10 is Klefki. Klefki he's all around just different type of Pokemon, and if he was real, I would have him because I do lose keys and stuff alone a lot. And then coming up in number 9 is Hawlucha. He actually kind of grew on me a little bit more. Mainly because of Yurt the Nerd. He kind of pushed me more into him. I really kind of like him now. He's just kind of a little more of like a badass. Excuse my language. Then coming up at number 8, we have Tyrantrum and Kabutops. Now, the reason why these two are together is because they're both equally my favorite, and they're both fossil Pokemon. So I just put them together. I've always liked Kabutops. He was always my favorite of the three. And then when they came out with Tyrantrum, I'm like, oh heck yeah, because he's a T-Rex, and he just looks awesome. Then Lapras up next with, on my list. Lapras has always been one of my favorites, ever since the series of, with Ash. When he got Lapras, I thought it was kind of cute. I was younger then, so, cute wasn't, not in, like, my, man type thing. Lapras has always just been kind of that Pokemon that I wish I had, as a friend. Then, up next, we have Houndoom. When I saw him, I thought, oh, that Pokemon's badass. He just like a demon-looking Pokemon, he just looks like he can tear someone a new one. And the fact that he was a fire type, I was like, oh, that's even better. Because I've always liked fire and water types, so you'll see a lot more of like fire and water types in this list. Next we have Garchomp. He's more of a recent one. Ever since I got him in Shiny as a Gible in Pokemon Black or White too. I can't remember which one it was. When I started using him, I thought, this is a pretty nice Pokemon. So, he's in there for that reason. Next we have another combination of two. Glade and crap, can't think of her name. Gardevoir. These two I've always thought were a good, team. Glade was more of like the fighting, and of course, she was always kind of like the one that stayed back and would help for support or something, in my mind. But now that, with, some boosts, and now that she's got Fairy type, she can also fight alongside Glade. Next up is Greninja. Greninja is also a recent one. I've always liked ninjas and stuff, and the fact that there is a frog ninja is pretty cool. I do like his design. I'm not sure on the tongue coming up around his neck. That seems kind of weird. That is the only flaw that I have with him, but otherwise, he is a pretty good Pokemon. And the fact that he's a starter Pokemon is actually really cool. He's going to be the one that I'll start with again. Next, we have Gyarados. Gyarados has always been that Pokemon that when I saw Magikarp, I was like, I want to get a Magikarp to train and get a Gyarados. Ever since the beginning. And I remember back in Pokemon Gold and Silver in those days with the Game Boy Color, I remember coming across the red Gyarados, and I thought, oh man, this guy's awesome. He's different from all the Gyaradoses. And that was, the first shiny Pokemon I ever had. Next up is number 1, Charizard. Charizard's been my favorite for a long time, since the beginning. Some of you might call me a Gen 1er because my number 1 and number 2 are first generation Pokemon. No, it's not the fact that, they're from Generation 1. It's because I've always just liked the design. If you look at Gyarados, he's based on the Japanese sea serpent type thing, and evolves from a carp, which is also based off of koi fish, which I do have. And then if you go to Charizard, he was the first, when I was a kid, I expected him to be a dragon. He was the first one that I thought was a dragon. And I loved him. I remember as a kid, wishing that I could have a real Charizard, flying on his back, and, that'd be my partner till the end. But, he turned out to be, just fire flying, but he still stayed up there in my number 1. There was a time where he actually dropped down to number 2, but with the Megas that came out, he actually came back up in number 1. So yeah, Charizard, you're still here. And this is the end. This is Draco, signing off. Hope to see you ladies real soon with number 2 video of Megas.